Let's not play, boy.
All right. We're about to talk about the NBA coaching vacancies. There were a lot of them, a huge carousel. What we know so far: first, Portland Trailblazers hired Chauncey Billups. Dallas Mavericks hired Jason Kidd. Indiana Pacers hired Rick Carlisle. And Boston chose Ime Udoka, who we talked about a lot actually in episode 40. So if you all have not seen that, take a moment, check it out. I promise there are some hilarious stories that you all will love. So what does that leave us with? There are 3 head coaching positions in the NBA left: the Washington Wizards, the Orlando Magic, and the New Orleans Pelicans. With those 3, I am going to give you my top 3. Spoiler, there's a 3.5 here. Head coaching candidates that are still available and that need to be hired this coaching cycle. And I'm going to do this. We've talked a lot about how fresh faces are important. We got to stop just solely recycling the same faces over and over again. So in that vein, I'm going to give you 2 fresh faces and 1 retread, because not all retreads are bad decisions. Like, clearly, we see what Nate McMillan is doing with the Hawks right now, fresh off a job with the Pacers that did not work out. So the first is Becky Hammon. I cannot stress this enough. Becky Hammon is by far the best coaching candidate that is still available this cycle. She played collegiate ball at Colorado State University, was a 3-time All-American, played 16 seasons in the WNBA, was a 6-time All-Star, has been an assistant coach with the Spurs for like 8 years now, since 2013. So you know that means there is a championship ring on that finger. There are some conference final appearances on that finger as a coach in this league. We know that the Spurs coaching tree has produced fantastic coaches. Some of them such as Brett Brown. We know Mike Budenholzer. We know, look, it is important to understand that. I just want to say this right now. Becky Hammon is the breaker of ceilings. The first woman to become a full-time assistant coach in the NBA. The first woman to be the head coach of a summer league team. And by the way, when she did that, she also won the summer league. So let's not act like she doesn't know what she's doing. She's the first woman to be on a staff with all-star players. She's the first woman to actually end up being an acting head coach in the NBA. Pop has just given her the reins multiple points in time. Paul Gasol, also certified legend in the game, was like, it's not like Becky Hammon is a good coach. It's not like she can coach. It's not like she's better than some of the male candidates. It's that flat out, undeniably, Becky Hammon is a top coach in the NBA. And this was a couple cycles ago. So why is she not getting her look? Now, I'm going to be honest. She was a finalist for the Portland Trailblazers job. It's actually probably the job that I would have liked to see her get the most. Chauncey Billups got it instead. There was some controversy surrounding that, but that's not what I'm trying to get into. I actually honestly believe that she should be the New Orleans Pelicans coach. If y'all listen to episode 38, we talked about Teresa Weatherspoon, who I think is a running away very good option for the same job. But more importantly, there's a lot of young talent there. Did not mesh with the Van Gundy style of coaching. What we know about Becky Hammon is that all the players that she's worked with have said she is a great motivator, a great communicator, fantastic with the X's and O's, and is a person that can build a culture that's very easy to buy into. This team in New Orleans is young. This team in New Orleans needs someone that they can honestly believe in. And that's why, to me, with everybody that's left, because at first I really wanted Jason Kidd for this position, but he took by Dallas. I honestly believe she would crush. And this would be a great start to what would probably be a magnificent coaching career. So let's move on to number 2. My number 2 is Sam Cassell. If y'all are not familiar with Sam Cassell, certified baller. He got into the league, and the first thing he did was win back-to-back titles with the Houston Rockets. And then he ended his career winning a title with the Celtics in 2008. He played 15 years, averaged about 16 points. He was a member of the Wizards staff from 2009 to 2014. He then joined Doc Rivers' staff with the Clippers, was there all the way until Doc moved on to the 76ers, and he moved on with Doc Rivers. I honestly believe he is the perfect candidate for the Washington Wizards job. Not only does he already have experience with the organization, but he has earned his bones as a coach in this league, was a very successful player in this league, and I think that is something that players can buy into. And when you think about where the Wizards are, it's a little odd. They have Beal, they have Westbrook, but everybody's kind of seeing the writing on the wall about whether or not that's sustainable moving forward, whether or not Bradley Beal might want to leave soon. And I think Sam Cassell gives you the opportunity to try to build a winner and convince Bradley Beal to stay. And if you cannot do that, this is a rebuild. And I like that for Sam Cassell, because the Wizards have historically been a very patient franchise with their head coaches. Both of their last 2 head coaches had a job for 4 or more years, which means if he walks into a rebuild, they're going to give him the time to reestablish that culture, get those young kids to elevate and show the talent that they may be able to get in the future, especially with his relationship with that ownership and front office from already being there in the past. This is Sam Cassell, Washington Wizards, the perfect fit. So number 3, and this is a little 2-parter, and it's going to be our retread. It's Terry Stotts or Mike D'Antoni. And the reason why I really like either of these 2 guys, particularly for the last team, the Orlando Magic, is because they are certified good coaches. They have been fantastic everywhere they've been, but they just haven't been able to get teams that you expect to get over the hump and win that championship. But the Magic are in a really super interesting position. They're not fully in a rebuild. They have a lot of really young talent, and they need someone to come in, reestablish a strong winning culture, get the talent that they have on that roster to play up to expectations moving forward. And when you think about this Orlando Magic roster, they have really, really good guards that in the future can be all-star dominant NBA players. We saw what Cole Anthony did this year. He was fantastic. We've seen Markelle Fultz go from looking like Ben Simmons in Philly to getting his shot back, becoming a significantly more confident player. They also have RJ Hampton, who can be a 2 or an undersized 3, who had a lot of potential and hype coming into the draft last year, was a trade piece to get Anthony Gordon over to Denver. And because of this, I like Terry Stotts and Mike D'Antoni because they have proven ability to take guard talent and bring them to the next level. We saw D'Antoni do it with Steve Nash. We saw D'Antoni do it with James Harden. We saw what Terry Stotts did with Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum. I honestly believe these are coaches that can kind of bring forward this Orlando Magic roster and get them trending into the playoffs year after year after year. And maybe they have the same problem that they had in their other stops, that they don't get you over the hump. They don't win you a championship. But let's be honest, Orlando Magic fans, just consistently being in the playoffs, getting to the second, possibly a conference finals here and there would be a massive win for this franchise given its recent history. Those are my top three. I want to know what you all think. Becky Hammon, Sam Cassell, and a Terry Stotts or a Mike D'Antoni.